So I wanted to continue the conversation about the hanged woman. Yes, it's not the hanged man in this episode. I have been wanting to make my own tarot deck for a long time, and it's one of those things that is a lot harder than it looks like. It's fun, don't get me wrong, but it's a work in progress. That's all I have to say on that. So, in my pursuit of it, I was playing around with AI art, and I created the Hanged Woman. I still like that idea of the Hanged Woman, so the Hanged Man. And I feel like the Hanged Woman, the way she is in the air, is very different from a man, and would always be very different from a man. For one, we're usually if we also talk about the hanged child, that's a whole another thing. Like in the womb, the start with the womb, right? The mother carries the baby. And if we look at it from a different perspective of the hanged child, the child's got that cord and is held in this fluid, and yes, they're constantly growing, but and they do move, but they can't go anywhere. They have to wait quite patiently and to have faith in the parent to provide nutrients to them in the womb, to provide all the oxygen that they need to protect them. There's no way they can get out of that situation. They just have to wait. And so children are the first ones who have the potential to carry faith in its strongest form. And they can be the strongest believers of magic and goodness in the world when they have not been hardened by this world. So the downside of being hardened early on is you lose that gift. It's a gift we get early on, and then it's harder to recover. But I've seen, like, as a kid myself, I felt like I was a little hardened early on, but there was this weird faith that would just would follow me. And there were some things that I was willing to believe, even when people would try to discourage me to believing in. I firmly believed in angels, and I saw actually an angel when I was a kid. She was quite beautiful, and I remember being taken back by her beauty, and I felt so loved and so nurtured and cared for. I knew that, and I still know she's around me. She's always watching me. I have faith that there are these divine beings always around me and protecting me, even when I don't see them. I see the light. I always see it. Like, they always have this nice, beautiful light around me. And when you have faith that you're always okay, even when you feel scared, it's almost like you have a barrier, like you are shielded, and it's easier to make decisions because you're more likely to be calm or to get back to a calm state, because you can rationalize with yourself. You can say, okay, I know it's scary right now, but you are actually safe. Like, you may not feel safe, but you are safe. There are beings all around you who are opening doors, who are also protecting you from bad opportunities. They're slowly, gently guiding you because they know your nature inside out. I smiled for that one. And they believe that you have this incredible potential, that you are worthy and deserving of expressing in this world to its highest potential. And when I talk about that, like, I can feel it in my throat chakra. My throat chakra is actually a lot more open, and lighter, and it feels really good. Like I feel like that, like it's almost like they're sprinkling stardust in my aura, and it's quite relaxing. So when you have the hope and you have that faith and you actually think about it, talk about it to yourself, you're like, oh wow, wow, yeah, yeah, they guide me all the time. I'm always okay. And it just changes your perspective completely. And so then the hanged woman, because the way she holds herself in suspension, if you see, have you seen Pink? Pink would be, um, so I like the idea of the hanged woman being held in an acrobatic motion, where she is in this, I don't know what they're called, like it's like they're the ribbons or something that like where they do all that, like, have you seen a show like where they use that material I'm talking about? I don't know what's called, but I'm trying to remember what's it's called. I think it's called aerial something, and it's very beautiful to watch. It's art in motion, and I remember seeing one for juniors because we have family who put on a show, and I'd always wanted to see a show with aerial acrobatics. I wanted to see what it looked like. And actually, some of these young children were quite talented at a young age. Like whoa, like they're going places, whoa. And I was like, well, you know what? I bet you'd be even more beautiful to see it in motion with adults who've been at it for years. And Pink is really good at what she does. Like is fearless. Have you seen, like, that's, I mean, for us normal mortals, we would be so frightened to do something like that. But she has faith in her skill, her own talent and ability to keep herself safe, but her team too that protects her. That, like, she also too knows when something's wrong. Like I remember watching something and she said like, oh, she's like, oh, I know there's something wrong with the equipment, and she was really scared, but she knew her team would protect her, and she was okay at the end of it all. Because some of the stuff she does could potentially be very dangerous, but the reason she can do it is because she knows how to keep herself safe, and she knows her team is going to protect her. That's the biggest, that's more than, like, that's a trust fall, guys. That's the kind of trust fall that most of us don't even dream about. That's the hanged woman, is the trust fall, and with yourself and with other people in air, doing all these crazy stunts and knowing you have the strength and ability to do it. And I know I'm repeating things. I have a habit of repeating things in my shows. And the reason I do it is I am trying to annoy you into realizing the sheer potential in yourself, and also to constantly expose you to these things. I just do it because I know I should. You know, like with kids, you have to do it. It's repetition, repetition, repetition. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to say you're a kid. You're not a kid. But for me, that's worked, is repetition, repetition, repetition. And the spirit knows this too. Spirit knows the inner kid in us is still hanging around going like, can you repeat that? I have no idea what you just said. Like, that's confusing to me. Can you say it in a different way? You know, when we were kids, school was very confusing and exhausting. And if you were really, like, you had a really nice teacher that's like, okay, you look really tired. Why don't you take a break and we'll try talking about it in a different way? And they would change how they talked about the lesson, so you actually had an aha moment. Those were the best teachers, and Spirit is the best teacher. They will change how they phrase things in many different guises, in many different ways. There's so many readers out there. There's so many healers out there. And intuitively, they're aware of this. Intuitively, that Spirit is using them to speak through and to give you a higher guidance that will change your frequency. Like it's like a soft tap. Have you ever felt that, like a tap that just felt really comfortable and you're like, oh my God, that felt really good. You didn't even do anything. No more really relax. Its spirit is going to softly tap you. Tap you. And tap you. Many, 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 many trillion of infinity times across all your lifetimes. Because they believe in you. And that's where we're going to kind of pause for a moment. Because I want you to ask yourself, what do you think the hanged woman for you would look like? Because think about it, a woman in motion, in the air, safe. This is not about being suspended, not being able to do nothing about your situation and just hoping everything is going to be okay. It's like, well, while I'm in the air, I'm going to go have some fun. Yeah, this is awesome. I'm going to just be doing this crazy little stunts here. Woohoo! And I'm going to go twirling down. Whoa! And you touch the ground and you're fine. You're grounded. You went all the way up to higher consciousness and you had fun on the way up and the way down. And then we came back to the earth. You were ready. Well, hopefully you'll be ready. All right, that is it for our little show and tell. Toodaloozies.